Hi love bugs. Today, or tonight actually, it's like, I don't have a clock in here. It's like 1 a.m. maybe for me. Anyway, tonight I thought it would be really fun to read a little bit of this book. If you watched one of my previous videos where I talk about all the different bug books that I have, then you'll have seen that I mentioned that I really love this book. It's called The Little Book of Bees, an illustrated guide to the extraordinary lives of bees. And it is beautifully illustrated. Like, it's so cute and pretty. Okay, let's just get right in. I'm just gonna pick some random little passages to read, just because there's a lot of little paragraphs, little bite-sized information. So this one says, from dinosaurs to dahlias, the evolution of the bee. You might be surprised to know that the first bee buzzed alongside a lumbering stegosaurus. It collected pollen from small, dull flowers without any petals, oh how sad, and it most closely resembled a wasp. That's where the story of bees begins, 130 million years ago, in the last epoch of the dinosaurs, before flowers painted the landscape, before humans walked the earth. It was a really adorable little illustration. I'm assuming that's dinosaur legs and a little bee. Even if I don't read everything, I do want to show a lot of the pictures because they're really sweet. Let's see. Oh, so they do also have these little pages sprinkled throughout the book. It just says bee fact on the top, and then it's got some information. I mean, well, the whole book has information, but you know what I mean. Although it's commonly believed, I'm a dork, I'm sorry. Although it's commonly believed that bees evolved from the pollinating wasps, the details of the theory are still shrouded in mystery because of gaps in the bee fossil record. The most recent clue was uncovered in 2006. That's pretty recent in terms of, you know, the world. When the oldest known bee, Melitosfex burmensis, I'm not good at Latin, so I'm not going to pronounce these names very well, I'm sorry, was found encased in amber. This 100 million-year-old fossil provides new evidence in support of the theory because it has traits of both bees and wasps. It's considered particularly important because it also has branched hairs, which today's bees use for collecting pollen. And there's a little illustration of a bee in some amber. Kind of looks like a little egg. Over time, some bees became social creatures and gave up their solitary lifestyle in favor of colony life. They developed complex societies where many bees share a single nest and the duties of maintaining it. They evolved special stomachs for carrying nectar and built structures in their nests to store it. Eventually, this practice led to the creation of honey. Bees emerged as the most successful pollinators of the era and still hold the title today, with more than 20,000 species around the globe. Wow, more than 20,000 species, that's insane. And then here's some illustrations of different kinds of bees. Oh, this is the same one I painted in my most recent video. That's cool. From egg to bee, the bee life cycle. Every bee starts as an egg, but it doesn't crack open like a chicken egg when it's time to hatch. Instead, its soft membrane dissolves and its nutrients are absorbed by the tiny larva. In the larval stage, the helpless grub must eat a tremendous amount of food. Mother bees are charged with collecting a supply of pollen and nectar so that their young have the energy to grow. A bee larva will shed its skin 5 times before entering its final period of development, the pupal stage. However, some bee species spend months or even years in a larval state before going through metamorphosis. Just like the caterpillar of a moth, the bee larva spins a cocoon before transforming itself. Inside the cocoon, the larva develops a head, legs, and body before finally sprouting its hair and wings. Once the change is complete, the young bee chews its way out of the cocoon and commences its adult life. Sorry about that, my phone just stopped recording for some reason. Not sure why. I don't know where I was in the passage before it stopped recording. I don't know if I finished it or not. I'm just going to move on to a different one. Let's see. Pollination. Pollen is nature's glitter. It gets on everything. That's a great analogy. This is by design, of course. Flowers want their pollen to be spread about because it's how they reproduce. When a flower's male part, stamen, produces pollen, it must be transferred to the flower's female part, the pistil, for the plant to make seeds. The pollen can't travel on its own, however. It needs the help of animals, wind, or water. Gorgeous illustration. By the way, I don't know if any of you have noticed yet, but my shirt is covered in little bees. I got this, well, it's from Target. I got it on eBay secondhand. Because I don't think they have it anymore. They carried it several months ago, but it's probably out of stock everywhere now. And I have the earrings on as well. As well as a bee helix ring. As you can tell, I adore bees, so that's just a fact. Okay, here's a cool fact. Did you know that static electricity plays a role in pollination? As she flies from flower to flower, a bee's body generates a positive electrical charge from the friction of moving through the air. Flower petals, in contrast, usually give off a negative charge, the result being that a positively charged bee approaches a negatively charged flower. The pollen leaps from the flower to the bee. Sometimes this happens before the bee is even landed. That's really cool. I had no idea that happened. Science, guys. Let's see. Okay. Bee fact. Flowers use their wiles to attract bees, and the brightly colored petals and intoxicating scents also work their magic on humans. But scientists have discovered that some flowers employ another method unseen by the human eye. These clever flowers display stark patterns visible only in the ultraviolet light spectrum to guide the bees to them. So here's an illustration. This is how the flower would look to us, and then this is how it would look to a bee. It almost looks like kind of like a target or something. That's pretty cool. Oh, this is adorable. Okay, so this is a bee family tree. I don't know if this is just for artistic purposes or if this is actually accurate, but it's gorgeous nonetheless. Also, sorry the lighting's a little weird. I just have like a couple of different lamps on me because like I said earlier, it's like 1 a.m. so obviously I don't have daylight to bless this video. Let's see. Okay, so then there's this section that has like a bunch of different bees. Well, the whole book has bees. That's a silly way for me to explain that. So it goes on from the family tree, explaining different species spotlights. So yeah, here's an ash mining bee. And then all of these bees are from the same family. Okay, let's read about the blue-banded bee since that's the one I painted recently. An Australian native, the blue-banded bee is easily recognized by its dazzling turquoise stripes, but you may have trouble getting a good look. They are extremely fast flyers. These bees are responsible for pollinating a significant amount of Australia's crops, as well as many native plants, using the buzz pollination method, often credited only to non-native bumblebees. I mean, I bet bees are pretty humble, but bumblebees. Females nest close to one another in clay, soft rock, or sometimes in the mortar between bricks. Males too can be found in groups. They roost together overnight, lining up in a row as they cling to a single plant stem. Curiously, the blue-banded bee seems to prefer blue flowers and is sometimes attracted to people wearing the color blue. Interesting. Oh, the carpenter bee. I love carpenter bees. When I was a kid, I used to play with bees all the time. I know that sounds silly. I've actually never ever been stung by anything. Not a bee, not a wasp, not any other insect that stings. I'm sure there are others. I mean, I know there are others that are floating in my head somewhere, but anyway, I used to love playing with carpenter bees. They're just so big and fat and fluffy, and I just thought they were the cutest little things. I tried to bring one inside once to keep as a pet, and my grandmother was really mad about that. She freaked out, to say the least. In hindsight, I understand why, but still. Oops, I knocked the tripod a bit, sorry. So it says, species spotlight, carpenter bee, Apidae family. Carpenter bees are gentle giants, named for their habit of nesting in decaying wood. Most are dark in color with little hair, but many have a gorgeous blue sheen to them. And one Asian species, Zilacapa carolia? I probably said that awful, I'm sorry. Is covered in a striking cerulean fuzz. Unlike other bees who live only one season, carpenter bees can live for several years. Oh, so that would have actually probably made a good pet for me. Silly grandma. Female carpenter bees like to nest close together, chewing shallow tunnels in which to raise their young, and males often patrol these nest sites in an attempt to scare off anyone who comes near. But don't worry, males don't have stingers. Although carpenter bees are scorned by humans as pests, they are pollinators of some important crops, including cotton, tomato, eggplant, and passion fruit. Yeah, fun fact. I mean, these have all been pretty fun facts, I think, but yeah, only female bees have stingers because a stinger is actually a modified ova depositor. There's a word for that, I just can't remember it right now. Yeah, but so the females used to use those to lay their eggs to kind of like deposit them in certain spots, but it has since been modified as a stinger so they can protect themselves. Ooh, orchid bees are just gorgeous. Look at those colors. That's a gay pride bee right there, I mean, come on. Orchid bees live in the tropical regions of Central and South America. These strikingly beautiful metallic bees come in a rainbow of colors resembling gemstones more than bees. That's accurate. Although male bees don't usually participate in pollination, some species of orchid are pollinated exclusively by male orchid bees. That's because male orchid bees have a curious habit of concocting their own cologne. They visit orchid flowers, but also fungi, and even rotting vegetation to collect scents that they store in their hind legs. It's not clear why they collect scent compounds, but it may play a role in attracting a mate. That is super interesting. That's kind of like humans. I mean, we don't create our own perfumes necessarily. Usually we buy them from the store. But I mean, I have lots of friends who will spray different perfumes and make their own concoction, and it's like they have their own signature scent. It's great. Gosh, insects are so cool, you guys. I'm just like geeking out right now. Okay, this is cool. The smallest bee in the world, Perdita minima, okay, that wasn't so hard to say, measures just 1/16 of an inch, or 2 millimeters. That's smaller than most ants, while the world's largest bee, Pluto, is almost 20 times bigger and boasts a wingspan of 1.5 inches. That's 63.5 millimeters. That's amazing. Also known as the flying bulldog. That's great. It is so rare that it was once thought extinct, with no documented sightings for 38 years. It has since been rediscovered on several Indonesian islands, but remains elusive. How interesting. And then here's a I think these are meant to be life-size, these images. So here's a honeybee, which I feel like that's pretty accurate. Maybe honeybees are a little smaller than that. And then here's the Mega Chile Pluto. So here's my hand also for comparison. That's pretty cool. That's huge. I love insects, but I might freak out a little bit if I saw that flying at my face. Just saying. This is just so beautifully illustrated. Did I mention the illustrator's name? I don't know if I did. But everything in this book is illustrated by Amy Holiday. I don't know why I'm holding it up to the camera. I know it's going to show up backwards, but yeah, she's fantastic. I follow her on Instagram. Her art is just amazing. So again, that's Amy Holiday, Holliday. And her art's amazing, obviously. I mean, I've been showing it to you guys this whole time, but let's see. Oh, fun species, cuckoo bees. Cuckoo bees? If you saw a cuckoo bee, chances are you'd mistake it for a wasp, but these sleek bees have little use for hair because they don't engage in the hard work of collecting pollen like other bees. They cheat the system. Interesting. Most mother bees spend weeks collecting pollen to feed their young, but cuckoo bees avoid this work by sneaking into the nests of other bees to lay their eggs. After a cuckoo bee egg hatches, the larva uses a set of deadly mandibles to eliminate its competition, with the original bee's progeny dead. I actually don't know that word. I'll have to look that up when I'm done with this video. I'm going to assume it means like young or something. Kin, something like that. When the original bee's progeny is dead, the cuckoo bee has the pollen patty all to itself. Cuckoo bees are a type of bee found in several bee families. Okay. So it's not necessarily a species, it's like a type of bee, like, do this kind of behavior, okay? They're categorized by kleptoparasitic, wow, okay, let's try that again. Kleptoparasitic behavior, stealing the nest of other bees. So far, cuckoo bee species have been discovered in the families Apidae, Halictidae, and Megachilidae. I'm sorry guys, I'm not Latin. Oh, this is an interesting fact. With so many species of bees, even scientists can have trouble identifying them all. In 2014, the U.S. Geological Survey collected an unknown species of bee in Argentina, but had so little information on it that they officially listed its genus and species as cute bee furry face. That's awesome. And here's a depiction of that bee. Very cute, very fuzzy. Accurately named, I would say. Oh, this page is so cool. So this is bee anatomy. I think this video would be way too long if I tried to read through the whole thing, but super neat. Okay, this video is getting a bit long though, so I'm gonna have to pick one more thing to read about. What should it be? How about... Okay, how about some communication? Everybody knows that bees dance to communicate, right? The most famous form of honeybee communication is dance. Forager bees use dance primarily to communicate the location of high-quality floral sources. The waggle dance is a sequence of circular movements that resemble the shape of a figure 8. The dancing bee walks in a straight line, sashaying, I guess kind of like doing this, her abdomen from side to side as she goes, then turns in a circular motion, repeats her waggling, and turns again. The direction she faces during the waggle portion of her dance in relation to the sun communicates an angle that tells the other bees how to get to the flowers. A bee that dances in a straight line to the left creates a 90-degree angle. That means the flowers she's found are 90 degrees to the left of the sun. That's amazing. Gosh, insects are so cool. So here's a little depiction of a bee waggling. And here's some illustrations, examples of their little dance that they do. So that's so cool. Anyway, I'll cut this video short now. Let's I'll keep going forever. This is a fantastic book. I definitely recommend this book if you know someone in your life that loves insects or bees or just even cute little fuzzy things. Like, it's just a very interesting read, and the way that it's all illustrated and the way that it's written is very entertaining and charming. So I don't think anyone would get bored reading this, even if they weren't necessarily super into bees. Or even for yourself. I mean, heck, buy yourself a present, buy yourself a gift. This is definitely worth the money. Not that it was that expensive when I got it anyway. It's like $15 or something, I think, when I purchased it at Barnes & Noble. Anyway, yeah, I hope you guys had fun listening to these bee facts and enjoying my bee accessories. Yeah, I'll see you guys all in my next video. Bye.